Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tim and today we're going to experiment to see whether or not a steering coupler makes any difference. Now I have around 130,000 miles on the original coupler and I can't feel if there's anything wrong with it. It steers and drives just fine, but what happens if we change it out with a new one versus if we change it out with a solid one or a polyurethane one to be more precise? All right, so we're about ready to test this original steering coupler here with a lot of miles on it. 130,000 miles to be precise. And as you can see here, there's actually some slop here in the middle. How much of it is in the actual rack and how much of it is in the steering coupler, I don't know, but there is some slop here in the middle. If we turn it around here now, it's not centered and it's exactly the same, still the same slop. If any, it actually feels like there's a bit more, but let's try and drive it and see what it feels like. Now there is a little bit of slop still when I'm driving, so what you saw when we were standing still is exactly the same while you're driving. I wonder if we can get rid of that by just changing the steering coupler, or if we actually need to rebuild the rack to get rid of this. But even still, this handles, drives, steers just simply amazing. It's by far the best car I've had in terms of actual steering feel. Let's see if we can show the self-centering. Whoa. There. Turn the steering wheel over. Release it. Look at that. Seriously, look at that. That's fucking perfect. I simply love the steering in this car. Even with this worn flex disc, I'm pretty excited to find out whether or not a new flex disc or a solid flex disc will have any impact on the steering or steering feel, that is. Imagine that. Driving 60 and this guy still overtakes me. Now let's go home and switch it out for a new one. A new OE one. No leaks. And here you can see the actual yellow tag steering rack ending in 712. Oh, there, it's moving. Whoops, there. And slides right off here. Okay. Feels a bit sloppy, but nothing in this direction here. Just a bit sloppy. This one feels exactly the same. All right, let's try and install this one then. Now this one goes here And then this one should fit. This play here at least feels the same, which would indicate that it's my steering rack that is slightly worn. So far, exactly the same. Feels the same. For whatever reason, the steering wheel isn't centered anymore. I thought this was some sort of idiot-proof installation. Apparently I was wrong, but maybe just a tiny bit better, but I'm just trying to figure out where I went wrong when I installed it, since the steering wheel is now moved ever so slightly. It's one spline off, I think, but I thought it shouldn't be able to. It is slightly better, but if someone changed it in the middle of the night while you were sleeping and you went to drive the car in the morning, then you wouldn't notice, honestly. The difference is that small. But it really annoys me that it's now slightly crooked to the left. Oh, what the fuck is going on here? With pretty big confidence already now, I can say that unless there's a lot of flex in your flex disc, steering Guibo, steering coupler, whatever we call it, unless there's a lot of flex in it, you won't notice any difference going with a new one. Still drives really, really nice, but yeah, so far no change. All right, so difference between new and old here was nothing that you'd actually be able to feel unless you're really trying. So that leaves us with this Prothane one here, polyurethane. It's actually for a 240, 260, 280C, a Nissan, but it still fits. 14701 BL for black. It also comes in red. We're going to use this as a template and then disassemble this and assemble it with this one. Haven't done it before, so, but yeah, we'll start by cleaning it. We'll probably need to drill out these rivets here. I think that'll be the easiest way. There. 2 halves made it with this. I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take 1 half and install it, and then we'll make the other one so that it fits. Now, I believe these are 8 millimeters. Let's just 9, okay. These are 9 millimeters. These are 8.5. I'm gonna have to go with 8 millimeters. Yeah, this will be better. Now, this one is here. Then we need to add this one there. And then tightening it like that. Now, this here is probably not gonna fly, so we'll cut this off. Forgot about my file being broken, but okay. It's just to lay down the edges. With the frets cleaned, let's give it just a tiny bit of grease. Look at how stupid I am. I'm literally installing the OE one again after having tested it once. How and why I didn't notice, I don't know, but it did happen either way. So yeah, maybe try not be as stupid as me. Maybe try and actually use your eyes. Almost ready for a test drive. Same amount of slop. And here we go. Being stupid. Right off the bat, no change whatsoever. Like, it doesn't feel any way, shape different than before. Now, I didn't actually notice that I had installed the OE one again until I went to edit this video here and noticed it. And then I went into the garage and like expected, the polyurethane one was still left on the table. So from here on out, I just kind of went back in the garage and installed the polyurethane one. This, and we'll tighten it like this. Turn around, tighten this one. There. Now it'll be interesting to see how it will behave. All right, so I've managed to actually install the correct one. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but either way, now the correct polyurethane one is installed, and right off the bat it kind of seems the same, maybe a little bit less, and maybe it feels a little bit more solid when you do actually kind of hit the the end of the slop. But let's drive it, see how it drives. I think the steering wheel's still a little bit crooked. I don't know how that actually happens, but whatever. It seems like the steering just got a tiny bit heavier. How that's supposed to happen just by changing a flex disc. Steering wheel play absolutely the same. I think self-centering is the same, but why shouldn't it be? Yeah, there's definitely a bit more coming through the steering wheel in terms of what's going on the road, and that's, mind you, I have some pretty shitty tires up front, some good ride, something. Steering is now so solid, so precise that I just think it kind of picks up on these small nuances that you normally wouldn't feel with the OE rubber one. I'm guessing there's a reason why BMW went with the rubber version. Part of it is obviously to kind of isolate the driver from small irregularities and imperfections in the road. So in that sense, it makes sense that now with a solid bushing, I get more feedback through the steering wheel. I guess it's not a ton, but there's definitely more feedback. When the road is smooth and so on, there's not really any differences at all, I feel. And neither when turning left and right. If I try and drive a little fast in the corners and so on, I honestly don't feel a difference, but it does pick up various small imperfections. Yeah. I'm riding on rough surfaces right now. There's definitely more coming through the steering wheel, but not in an unpleasant way as such. It's just kind of talks to you a little bit more. Okay, so I think I've found out why the steering wheel is not centered anymore. Here you can see the old flex disc. If you look closely, you can actually see that it's kind of tilted. That these pins here have moved ever so slightly, and that goes for both sides. So when I had it aligned, it matched the wear of this flex disc here, but once I installed a new one, or the polyurethane one, the alignment was off, and I even got a steering error which says that my steering is not centered. So I'll need to figure out how to solve that one, do an alignment myself, then reset it using Imper or something, and hopefully that will fix the steering error. I'd say that in terms of a conclusion, well, if there's nothing wrong with your actual Guibo flex disc steering coupler, if there's nothing wrong with it, don't change it. If you do change it, you actually do run the risk of having the steering wheel slightly off center all of a sudden. And going from a worn to a new OE one doesn't really change anything unless it's really worn. Obviously, if there's obvious cracks in it or dry rot or whatever, you will probably be able to tell a difference. But again, if there's nothing visibly wrong with it, don't bother changing it out with a new one. If you do want slightly more steering feel, then sure, you can go ahead with the polyurethane one. But keep in mind that you will need some additional bolts and some Loctite, lock nut washers and so on. It's not a direct swap. You do need to convert the old OE one as well. So that's quite some work involved in it. I guess the actual conversion took me 1 or 2 hours, so maybe factor that into the equation if you want to change out for a polyurethane one. But the benefits of that one, once all that work is done, is that there will be slightly more coming through the steering wheel. And in my opinion, it's actually in a good way. When the road surfaces are good, you won't be able to tell a difference, at least not that I feel. And I didn't feel any difference in turn-in or anything. It did feel like the steering wheel was slightly heavier, but the biggest improvement was probably just that any irregularities there were in the road, any uneven surfaces and so on, you can tell it in the steering wheel, but not like in an excessive way, but you can feel it in the steering wheel. And for some, that's a good thing. It makes it a little bit easier to feel like connected with the road, so to say. For that, the polyurethane does indeed work. But if you just want some OE comfort and perfectly good steering, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the OE one. Now, this is what we're going to be testing in the next video. This is a 293 diff. Hold on. It's the differential that actually came in the car here, but the previous owner swapped it for the 5-speed for a 6-speed and installed the 338 differential that is in the car now. Now, people call it a poor man's supercharger. That's what we're gonna find out. I have found the OE diff actually from this car here as well, bought it from the previous owner of the car who did the conversion. We're gonna test out whether or not and how it affects the drivability and performance and so on, going from a 293 to a 338. Obviously, we'll have to install the 293 first, go for a test drive, see how it behaves, 0 to 60, all that. Then we'll install the 338 again and do the same. Now, that's it for this video here. I hope you found it helpful or interesting, and if you did, please consider liking or subscribing. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.